Hello and welcome to this week's Two Up Top with myself, Gav Mack. I am also joined by, if you give me a couple of moments, I am joined by Stephen Buck, who is a co-host, of course, and Richard Savva. He is from a Spursy Podcast. It's all Tottenham today. This is Two Up Top, the football podcast, the real football podcast. Let me just turn that around a little bit so you can see my face. That's brilliant. We're in association with the male coach, the best booze in the whole Northampton. Hopefully in a couple of weeks' time we'll be able to go down there and get smashed. And we're also sponsored by DC Music Services, and that's who we are sponsored by. So yeah, as I said, we are joined by Stephen Buck over there. There he is. There's his little name in the middle.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm very well, thanks, mon frere. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm feeling a little bit intimidated since we were talking all Spurs today, but you've got a horrendous shirt on in the background.
How dare you? How honestly dare you? And in the corner, I see you chuckling over there. Savva, there he is. Spursy Podcast. How are you, pal?
Oh, mate, I'm thoroughly looking forward to it. I live for speaking about Tottenham Hotspur.
Hopefully this show won't last very long then. So Sav, talk to me about a Spursy Podcast. How did it begin? Like, what's the backstory?
Do you know what? It's only been going for about 6 months now, maybe the end of November, beginning of December. Do you know what it is? I'll be really honest. I'm quite blunt. I'm straight to the point. I got so fed up of seeing all these Spurs podcasts where everyone was being nicey, and Poch is the best manager and all of our players are better than any other player that exists in world football. And I just thought, well, look, let's have a show where anyone can come on, any fan of Tottenham Hotspur, and all opinions are welcome, rather than just, if you don't think Poch is the best or Levy's the best, you can't be a real fan. So I just created that. It's caused a bit of stir, got a lot of love, got a lot of hate, and yeah, it's led me to be speaking to people like you who wear clothes like that. So, you know, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lovely.
Matching mug as well. What are you on about?
Brilliant.
Look at that. So, yeah, what we'll do as well at the end of the show, we'll put some of your social media links out there, so any Tottenham fans can go along and have a little listen to what you got to say. I have to mention, you sent me your podcast that you did on Friday. It was one of the main reasons why I wanted to get you on the show. There's so many things Spurs we could talk about. The show that we normally do is an hour, but I could if it goes over the hour, you know, so be it, you know, because Tottenham. So anyway, boys, you know, you two are Spurs fans. You know, what's going on at Spurs?
I mean, do you want to go, Steve, or shall I? Or
where do you start? Honestly,
I'm just going to sit here and sip away.
Where do you start? I think at the minute it's a club that's in quite a lot of flux, and a lot of turmoil. It's never been a club historically that's had a sustained periods of success, but certainly not once you've left the 80s, barring 1991 and 2004 or 2008, I think it was. So we've never been a massively sustainably successful club. Yeah. The issues that we got at the minute really is you've had a change of manager. Probably was the right call to get rid of Poch when we got rid of him. If anything, it might have even been a little bit late, really.
Yeah.
I think he lost the confidence of the dressing room. I think he caused a lot of unrest when we went to the Champions League final, and it was almost kind of calling out and going, hey, look, if I win this, I'm off. And he locked himself in a bit of a corner at that point. You can't then get yourself out of it. Mm-hmm. Mourinho, I think, is possibly the right thing that the board needs in order to change the mentality of the board. Is he the right solution? He's a proven winner, yes. Is he the right fit for Spurs and the way Levy works? I don't think so.
What about, do you think that, because I think Poch is a great gaffer, personally, and I think he might have been let down a little bit by the hierarchy at Tottenham, but his head was turned with the Real Madrid job. Do you think that sort of derailed Spurs' season, a little bit like when you had Harry Redknapp and there was all talk that he might get the England job, and that season Spurs were absolutely flying and then they dipped right at the end. Do you reckon that might have had a bearing on what's happened?
I don't believe so, and the reason that I say that is, when you look at it from the outside, people will go, "Oh, Poch was amazing. Poch was doing brilliantly." But the reason why he got sacked was, if you remove that Champions League run, if you remove that and look at that period of time from January the 1st, 2019, what year? Yeah, January 2019 to November 2019, the form was exceptionally poor. We're talking over a period of 30 league games here. Now, look, I know that, you can't say what happens at the end of one season affects the beginning of another, but we won something like 6 or 8 games in a 30-game period against the likes of, I think it was 2 wins against Palace, 1 win against Huddersfield, 1 was Villa, 1 was Brighton, 1 was Southampton, and everyone else was beating us. And the problem is, Gav, is because the Champions League run, that kind of went under the radar. So we weren't actually doing well for a real large chunk of time. And when it got to the point this season that, hang on, we're 14th in the league, forget 14th, we were 12 points or 11 points off of top 4. That's when Daniel Levy, as a kind of businessman and worrying about profit, must have gone, hang on, enough is enough here. Brings in Jose to steady the ship, which he did. Jose then loses Spurs' 2 best players. I would say arguably, but I don't think it is an argument.
No.
We lost our 2 best players, and now what we're seeing is we're not very good. Without those 2 players, we're not very good. So to answer your question, I don't feel sorry for Poch. I do feel sorry for Mourinho. I don't feel sorry for Levy at all.
Wow.
Told you I was honest.
But the thing is, it's so nice and refreshing, and I might be sat here in my Gooner shirt, but if anyone knows me, and I've said it so many times on this show, football comes first, and then I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm a very honest and open fan. I'm one of those weird Arsenal fans that actually quite like Spurs, because you started playing this brand of football about, well, it was in and around the time when Redknapp came in and sort of revolutionised the way Tottenham were. Because, if Tottenham came higher than 10th, it would be like, oh, that's a good season this season. Whereas now it's like, well, if you're outside the top 4, it's a travesty. So, your whole mentality, the way that Tottenham have been over the last decade or so has been, is nice actually, because it's built around a warmer rivalry between Arsenal and Tottenham as well, and also making teams like Man City, like United, like Chelsea think, and making them think more, so it's pretty good. But personally, I think all the problem starts at the top, and I reckon I didn't want to go this early into Daniel Levy and Enoch, but I think I might let you run free on that one, boys.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Levy for me, we're talking about it quite a lot off air. I think if you look at what he took on when he first took over the club, the state that we were in, you had a sustained period under Alan Sugar where there hadn't been a lot of investment in the club because of the financial mess that it was in. Albeit Sugar did go and invest in the stadium, and we saw the sort of expansions of the stadium, more seating being added in, all that kind of thing. But the club was broke. Enoch did inject some cash into it, and I think the foresight and the strategy that Levy has put into place to say, actually, look, we can't afford the top brass players here. We are going to have to either take on the youngest crop of talent that we can find, and they went through a period of that when they brought in Damien Comolli. That took a few seasons to sort of start to bear some fruit, and it did actually probably laid the foundations for Harry Redknapp to really come in and make something different with a couple of extra bits thrown in there for good measure. The strategy they've kind of kept really with Poch. They've just changed it. Rather than buying the best young talent around, we're going to try and blood in our academy, have the best academy facilities and training facilities around to get the best out of them. But that for me is the end of where Levy has achieved. Fantastic training facility, yes. Fantastic stadium, beautiful, yeah. As a businessman, you've let a stadium go double over its original budget. That's number one. It's absolutely shocking in my view.
It's not a very good business sense, really, is it?
No, I mean, where'd you go with it? It's making a huge ton of money off of bar bills and off of events, but he's completely taken his eye off the footballing game.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view with Levy, at first I could see the plan. At first I could see it. You know, you need to get some young players in, some talent. You know, what we call potential, but that's never changed. And you know, we got lucky, or you could say lucky, or we did the right thing. We got a really good 11. You know, with the team that had the kind of Dembele and Wanyama pivot with Eriksen, Ali, Son, and Kane, and never moved on from there. And for me, it was arrogance of the highest order. Not only from the chairman, from the manager at the time, Poch, saying hard to improve this squad. The chairman not improving when we, you know, I always say you strengthen from a position of strength.
Yeah.
You know, you don't strengthen when you're poor. So for me, Daniel Levy is I don't want to say cancerous. I do want to say he splits the fans. And I think for me, he's turned a lot of our fans, and forgive me, I think he's turned a lot of them into accountants, where everyone's worrying about, oh my God, but what about the money? What about the wages? How can we afford to pay? I don't care. I'm a fan, right? When I go on a Saturday and I pay my money, yeah, and the game starts, it doesn't matter if there's a light show. It doesn't matter if it's the best stadium, the best grass in the world. I'm watching those 11 players play for Tottenham. And unfortunately, that's the one area where we have forgotten over the last 5 years. And it's literally now you've realised that now that 11's come to its end, Levy's not bought players to replace them that are as good or better. So every position's got weaker and weaker. And bringing in Mourinho, I think he thinks that he can do what Poch did, but he hasn't got the players. So Levy's got a lot to answer for, and I want him out. Is that too blunt? Or
No, I love the honesty. Because you could argue the 15-16 season when you came third in a two-horse race. Just throw that one in there. Arsenal came second. That year, your starting 11 was arguably the best starting 11 in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So I see what you're saying about the strength, but why was that not seen by either? Was Poch there saying I need players, or was he saying I'm happy with what I've got? And why was it not being seen from the top that, you know, we've done this, we need to go one step further?
I mean, I think that's the big thing about Spurs fans at the moment. I mean, there's so many conversations, isn't there, Steve, as to, you know, lots of people can't get over Poch. Lots of people love that Mourinho's a winner. Some people hate him because he's not special anymore, and he's a dinosaur. But for me, the problem is, and it always has been, the board, because we needed a couple of players to kick on. That season when we finished third or second, I'm thinking to myself, look at this 11. If we go out and buy 2 or 3 top players that can come in when Kane drops out and gets injured, when Vertonghen or Alderweireld gets injured, and you're thinking, right, make that leap. Make that leap of faith, stick 100, 150 million in and make that leap. We didn't. We didn't buy anyone for 2 windows. And you had fans at the time, and this is what makes me laugh. You had fans at the time saying, oh, well, trust the chairman, trust Poch. They know what they're doing. And yeah, they're the ones now saying, oh no, we couldn't afford it because of the stadium build.
I never felt that there was any trust there in the first place. This is what confuses me. You know, from a non-Tottenham fan's point of view, we don't hear that sort of thing. But if that's what you're hearing within, you almost feel like you have no choice but to believe it. And Arsenal have had the same sort of thing over the years. We're owned by, you know, like there's the Kroenkes and Sir Chips Keswick, and we've got all this money, and we're like, Arsenal were struggling to sign this player for next to nothing, so to speak. Yet, like, I'm a massive NFL fan. You know, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, and we did really well. We won the Super Bowl last year, but before then, you know, it was all about the Rams. And he moved, the Kroenkes moved the Rams from St. Louis to LA, put loads of money into them, and we're all stood here like,
What about us?
Why could you not offer an extra 50k a week to Aaron Ramsey? You know, why did we bid 25 million for that player when he's clearly worth 40 million and things like that? Are those sort of things, you know, we don't really see that from Tottenham fans.
Steve, I'll let you take that one.
I think there's certainly pockets out there that are like that. But I think we go back to that mentality change again. To a certain extent, we've got so used to the frustrations that come with Daniel Levy and the Enoch group. And before that, you know, I mean, let's be honest, it wasn't that long before that whereby we'd go in at half-time 3-0 up against Manchester United and throw it all away in 45 minutes that followed. So,
yeah,
you know,
bad times.
It was bad times. Great when I was sitting behind that goal, by the way, but it was dreadful from an emotional aspect. We've got so used to that by now. So there needs to be a mentality shift, but that mentality shift has to come from the board. And it's not been there. It's never been there. And fundamentally, Daniel Levy isn't going to change. For me, I was hoping that when Mourinho comes in, the fact that he's such a serial winner and he's got so much... He's got the CV that not only says, look, I can laden you with trophies, but he also ladens you with a lot of aggro and pushes those clubs to change and think about winning and doing nothing else but thinking about winning.
Yeah.
Could he change Daniel Levy and the board's mentality? Because that is the key area that needs to change.
Yeah. And I think just to back on from that, one of the key things, I'm not sure about you, Steve, one of the key things for me was, and Gav, if you didn't know, they had a Tottenham Hotspur board meeting maybe 6 weeks ago now, in the last couple of months, definitely. And when they released the meeting notes, the Tottenham Hotspur Trust, that what was coming out of there was worrying for me. Yeah. You had Daniel Levy saying, well, look, there's absolutely zero correlation between spending and winning. And I'm thinking, what? You know, Spurs don't buy superstars, we make them. And I'm thinking,
to sell them on for profit. That's a business mentality. That is not a football thing. That's
absolutely. I mean, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you've got, you know, we don't buy them, we make them the stars. Okay, Harry Kane, yes. One player. He's sitting there saying the strategy is not going to change. He's sitting there saying there's something special within the club, within the dressing room. No. And as a fan, I'm reading this going, but we are getting worse and worse and worse. If you look at our last 4 seasons, points, wins, losses, it's all going backwards.
What's got you on that one? I have got a question here. Should Tottenham sell Jan Vertonghen and Toby Alderweireld?
Well, I think Jan Vertonghen is beyond the point whereby they can sell him, to be honest. That's long gone. Yeah. Judging by the form that he's been in over the last couple of years, the injuries that he's had, he looks very much off the pace. I'm not even sure I'd renew his contract if I was Mourinho. I'd let him go. Alderweireld, he's still young enough for me, and he's got a place at the club. He's still probably the best centre half that we got on the books. Yeah. I don't think you can afford to let go of him. I just don't think you can. Kane, on the other hand, if someone breaks my palm,
to that bit so soon, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back to Alderweireld and Vertonghen. I think you're spot on, Steve. I think for me, you've got to keep one of them. I don't think you can allow that much experience to walk out the door in one window. Hence why they've renewed Toby. Toby's not playing great at the moment, but for me, that doesn't look like he's gone. It's more of a confidence issue. He's got a different centre-back partner every week. Toby, for me, I would put someone like Tanganga next to him.
I love Tanganga.
And let him learn the game. Vertonghen, I think you'll see go on a free and go and join Inter Milan. A lot slower. Join with Eriksen. That's just my opinion on it.
Mm-hmm. Got another question here, which has come through. I think it's more of a statement, I should say. I think we have the players, but we're not putting any of the effort in. We're covering less ground in the match, having less possession. Do you agree with that?
No, sorry, I don't see it. I mean, listen, you can imagine I have these debates every week on the podcast, every day on Twitter. I get fans going, "Oh, we've got the squad." I look at this squad, and Steve, we were talking, before we went live. If you take Son and Kane out of this squad, I look at that team and I think there's not one defensive midfielder in the squad. There's not one playmaker. You've got aging centre-backs. You've got probably two of the worst fullbacks I've seen in a Spurs shirt, and no other fullbacks to even come in.
So worst fullbacks in who?
In Aurier and Davis. I just
don't you like
think
Ben Davis?
I think he's a brilliant backup fullback.
Right, okay, yeah, fair enough.
When you ask him to come in and do a job when Kyle Walker was injured, yes. Is he going to be the guy that propels you? No. So I suppose when I look at that squad, I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, well, where is this so-called quality that everyone thinks we should be top four? We shouldn't. We are poor. It's a very poor, unbalanced squad. 2 fullbacks, no DMs, 1 striker. I mean, who let it get like that? Poch and Levy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there are some players in there that I think are bright sparks. Moira was brought in there to add a degree of unpredictability. And we did need that when it came to teams that were setting up shop to just sit deep and defend. You needed someone that would take a man on and create something from nothing. He was that player. The issues in central midfield are pretty obvious. And we've said about the issues up front for years. They've been crying out for at least the last 4 seasons that we need a second striker to complement Kane, to give him a break. The way that he plays is so energetic, it puts him prone to injuries. And there's no one there.
That's the thing with Kane, because Kane's so good. We all know this. But you're never going to play a 4-4-2. So, your backup striker is a backup striker. So you've had Janssen over the years, you've had Llorente over the years. It's they're going to. I reckon you should have gone out and got Giroud. I know there's the link with Arsenal, and I know that he plays for Chelsea, but you should have just done whatever you can, because he's one of those players he is a brilliant forward. He scored over 100 goals for Arsenal. He's scored what was he scored about like 30 odd goals, I think. Not 30, about 20 odd goals, wasn't it, for Chelsea? Yeah, fair enough. Only 7 of those or so have been in the Premier League, but he is happy to sit on the bench. And he's still good enough to make an impact.
That was a move blocked by Chelsea. That wasn't a move blocked by... That was blocked by Chelsea because of the relationships ongoing between Levy and whatever club he's been dealing with in the past.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to happen.
Can I just say, I mean, this is the one debate that gets me frustrated. This is right up there for me. Why are Tottenham special in that regard? Yes, Harry Kane's a great striker. No, you won't find a Tottenham fan, or realistically, if you ask any other fan, honestly, no one's going to say he's not good. He's great. But why are we special? Why have all these squads down the years, when the Arsenals have won the league, the Chelseas, the Man Uniteds, the Man Cities, name me one of those squads that only ever had 1 striker? Man U won the treble with 4.
Yeah, I think why can we not have strikers, though, isn't it? Because like back in the day, everyone did play a 4-4-2, whereas over time, football has sort of, it's evolved, hasn't it? You have your one main focal striker, you got your 2 either side. I mean, like when Bergwijn's fit again, I'm hoping that COVID's actually sorted him out fitness wise. You can put Kane through the middle, you can put Son on one side and Bergwijn through the other, and then you have got option as backup that way, haven't you? But if Kane is injured, I don't think you can really trust Son or Bergwijn to play through the middle by himself. I mean, it showed, didn't it?
You've got players there that are different. So if you want to change the game about and employ a different tactical approach, you can do that with the existing group that are there. What you can't do is you can't play your A game approach and have a like-for-like replacement, because there simply isn't one available. And the ones that are available that you could go and get, you have to spend money and you have to be prepared to offer them substantial wages. And that comes back down to the business model that's employed by the club that says, I'm not prepared to see the shelf of my wage bracket go above that level.
The thing is as well, Steve, I don't know if you agree with this, but we talk about whoever would come to Spurs would only sit on a bench and wouldn't play a lot. But you're talking about, if you look at the last few years, Champions League every year, 38 league games, FA Cup, League Cup. Harry Kane's guaranteed a 3 or 4 month injury layoff. I don't believe that striker would just sit on the bench. I think that would actually prevent Kane from burning out, would actually give Kane some competition. And in the games when we are down, rather than looking to the bench and going, all right, well, let's just chuck on a winger, we can go, right, let's go 4-4-2. Let's go 4-3-3. Let's put on a forward and, but like you said at the moment, what we're doing is we seem to be playing the first half of the season with our A game, as you said, like with Kane. And then when Kane gets injured, it's like we've gone to this B game, no strikers, and we're kind of shoehorning people into positions that they don't play.
Yeah, because I look at Man City. Man City, right, they've got Aguero and Jesus.
Yeah.
And people were going, oh, yeah, Jesus is just a backup striker. Do you know how many games that guy's played? And how many goals he's scored?
Yeah.
It's very even in terms of the number of games to goals that they get. Not necessarily, in the league. Aguero has scored way more goals in the league, but Jesus is there. But you would argue that Aguero is their number one striker. Now,
big club mentality.
Yeah, not argue in terms of, anyone could go, oh, well, of course he is, he scored over 200 goals for him. But nowadays, before, even when Xhaka was there and Nolito and things like that, it was always Aguero starting every game, very similar to Kane, get an injury layoff, and then we've got to play Nolito through the middle, and then we've got to play whoever. Whereas now, Kane's not guaranteed to start every game. So Aguero's not guaranteed to start every game, whereas a 70, 80% fit Kane is the first name on the team sheet, and it shouldn't be that way.
It should.
Steve, don't you think that comes back to mentality?
Yes.
I.e., like everyone at Spurs thinks, oh God, Harry Kane has to play every God-given minute of football, and now I almost feel like it's our fault as fans and management and chairman for wanting him to play every minute that he's getting these injuries, because we are not giving that bloke a chance to rest and recuperate.
I think he's got a part to play in that as well. I mean, I absolutely applaud his drive and his enthusiasm, his wantingness to be back playing football and be on that pitch and score goals. It's obvious he absolutely loves the club. We all know that, and you can tell that in the way that he works and the effort that he puts in when he's on a pitch and the effort he puts into his rehab every time he gets injured to come back 4 weeks faster than what he should.
Yeah,
but he needs a break.
Yeah.
You cannot go through that number of games and play the way that he does without picking up injuries. But can you get another player in that? I think the issue with Poch was, could you get another player in that fitted the Poch mold of having someone that was young? And the answer would be no, because they're not going to get any better.
With Kane then, I'll come to you first, Buck. Do you think you should sell him?
Do you know what?
Be careful what you say here.
I know. The worst of it is, I know
I'm just going to get comfortable before you answer that question.
I need to put the light on for this. No.
I've got my family watching at the minute. God forbid, I'm going to get lynched with whatever I say. Look, as a fan, I love the fact that Harry Kane is at the club, and of course, I want him to stay. I don't personally believe that you have to just win trophies to be recognised as being a world-class striker. Mm-hmm. I think he can go for goal-scoring records at the club and cement a legendary status that he could do. It's well within his remit if he can stay fit and carry on playing, and that's his chosen path that he wants to go down. Mm-hmm. Would I sell him if someone graced our palms with, say, 200 million quid, 150 million quid? If I honestly believed all that money would go back into the starting 11, I would take it. Do I believe we'd get a penny of it into the starting 11? No. So then I'm going to say, no, we can't afford to sell Kane, because once we sell Kane, we will be absolutely back to where we were and finishing 10th, 11th place.
I mean, can I answer that question as well, Gav?
Yes, Sav. Yeah, that was the area.
I can't agree with Steve more. I mean, this is the problem. As a football fan right now, like if we supported Man City, for example, and Kane played for, and we had Kane up front, and they went, right, 200 million, you'd go, yeah, because you know what, we can buy 2 world-class players for that, 3 world-class players. This is Daniel Levy. He would sell Kane for 150, 200 million. Next thing you know, we'd have Josh King up front as our main striker next year. And that's no disrespect to him.
No, I know what you mean, though.
But that's what we do. But look at it from this point of view as well. Is Harry Kane is 27 in July. Okay. He's picking up injuries year on year. Right? Clubs can see this. They're monitoring this. If you are a big club, because I don't believe Spurs are. I'll probably get some stick. I don't think we're a big club because we don't. Big clubs win things, right? If you're a big club, a Bayern Munich, Juventus, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man City, you're looking at him going, right, if we're going to buy him, we're going to buy him now because these injuries are taking their toll and it's getting worse and worse and worse. Mm-hmm. So is there a bit of this where his agent might be saying to him, well, Harry, if you're going to go, you need to do it now, mate. Or he might stay with us. I can see him being completely burnt out by 29, 30 and going down that Michael Owen path.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just food for thought. I'm not saying I'd sell him. I'm just saying, what does he want? Because he must hate going to link up with those players in the England national team like Sterling and even Rashford and people like that win trophies. He must hate it. It must grind on him.
And it will grind on him because he wants to win everything. You can tell that with the way he plays. And he's acknowledged that.
There's no denying the level of passion that Kane possesses.
His will to win is phenomenal. But the longer that it goes on where he's not winning anything and he's not seeing the club progress and he's not getting paid top dollar wages for what is a top dollar striker, he'll end up being Danny Rose. And Danny Rose, I actually like his mentality because he came out exactly what everyone was thinking. Yeah. You're not paying us top dollar. We're not getting the investment in the team. We have a chance to step forward. Yeah. We are not taking it. The club has got to change. And he's been almost vilified, really, and outcast because of it.
Because he told the truth.
But Kane will go the same way.
Agree.
There's been a couple of comments and stuff, and here's one of them. Ian Colwell is a massive Spurs fan. He is. It's been brilliant having you watch along, Ian. He can't help but agree about the Kane situation. He'll definitely want to go and win trophies somewhere if we can't provide them ourselves, he says. And I think that's the issue. I can't see Tottenham winning a trophy. I don't understand why, you put a slightly weakened side out against Norwich in the FA Cup. I know the FA Cup is there to spring surprises and that sometimes, but you've got to go out and put every fully fit man out there, go out there and win a trophy.
But Gav, this goes back, as you all know, Steve. Gav, this goes back years. This is even when we had that, and I never say it was a great squad on the pitch because it wasn't. It was a great team, and I think a lot of fans get that confused. But even when we had that great 11, Poch would do these crazy things in finals. I mean, we played Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final one year.
That was when Matic scored that absolute worldie.
It was, but he played Son at left wing back. And then the penalty they conceded was from that side of the pitch. A year later, we played Man United in the Cup semi-final, and Lloris and Walker were dropped. We played in North London derbies where away, I mean, you beat us, I think you beat us 4-2. But, you can have your moment to gloat about it, but he dropped Toby out of Ireland and put in Wan Foyth. And we always seem, it seems like we're allergic to winning. We get close to winning and it's almost like we go, well, it's not about winning. And I don't get it. I've never got it.
It's about taking part, boys. Stop moaning.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You saw a lot of that, though, in the Champions League. There's, for me, and we spoke about this, a year ago, Gav. We were literally standing outside of the middle of the street having a 20-minute conversation on lunch break, which consisted of, if we start Kane in the Champions League final, we're going to lose.
Yeah.
Category, we will lose. And we did. And we both knew it was not fit.
We both knew exactly that, and it was so nice, having that understanding, because over the years when Kane's been missing, for injuries, normally around the same sort of time, that's like, well, cheers Spurs, well done for coming, see you later, see you in August. Whereas last season was a little bit different. it seemed that I felt that Tottenham clubbed together and wanted to work for each other. It's almost like they were a bit like when United were without Giggs and without Keane, like for the for the finals and like the build up for all that sort of stuff, and like they were we're gonna do this for you. Yeah. You know, we want to make sure that we win it for you, and I think they did that with every single game. But as soon as I said it earlier on, Kane 60%, 65, 70% fit. Right, okay, he's got to go in, and every focus was directly through Kane. And
Gav, the problem for me with that, and hopefully I don't know how many people are watching this, but I think that was one of the worst bits of management I've ever seen. Which showed why we are not a top club and why Poch isn't a top manager. And I'll explain to you why. Does a fully fit Harry Kane or a 90% fit Harry Kane start?
Yes.
No doubts about it. Of course he does. Does a 60, 65%, 50% fit Harry Kane start when he's not played for 2-3 months in the biggest game in our history? No.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, right? You are Lucas Moura. Now, I'm not sitting here. Lucas Moura, for me, is a 7 out of 10 player. 6 or 7 out of 10 player. Has great games, 5 crap games.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? You've scored that hat-trick, right? You've dragged...
You were out.
Pochettino.
You were out of the Champions League.
Yeah. He's dragged Poch through because let's not get it twisted. Spurs were awful in both legs against Ajax. Yes. We were awful.
And you lost me money.
Now, they cost us all money. You're buzzing. If you're Moura, you're buzzing. You've just scored one of the most watched hat-tricks in world football. You are buzzing for that final. Can you imagine turning around to him and going, "You're not playing"? Not even. Oh, I'm going to drop Ali or Ericsson and put Kane in. I'm going to drop the bloke with pace who would have been buzzing. That for me was the worst bit of man management I've seen from a manager. I thought it was absolutely horrific management. Sorry, I just do.
I mean, for me, I'm amazed that Moira is still happy to be at the club.
Yeah,
because if we were all playing, and that was the thing, you've got us through a semi-final to the pinnacle of what is a player could aspire to achieve at club level. Yeah. You scored a hat-trick. So it was single-handedly he got them to a final, really. And then you're told, oh, yeah, by the way, you're on the bench. I'm going to stick someone on that's just back from injury. He's not kicked a ball. He's not had any training regimes. I've got no idea what state of fitness he is, but he's better than you, obviously. I'd be handing in transfer requests. I
think, Steve, something you mentioned earlier in this show was, Moura's that one player. And again, sorry, I've got to caveat this for anyone that's watching. I'm not saying he's great, but he's that one player with that explosive pace. Right now against Liverpool, the one thing that people like Van Dijk don't want is pace running at them. So what do? We go to the Champions League final with a striker who can barely run about, Ali and Ericsson who haven't got any pace, and Liverpool must have thought,
oh, they're rubbing their hands together. They're thinking, "Ooh, this is an easy day at the office. It's a Champions League final. It's a final of
from the
largest club competition in world football." And the back line.
But this is the thing, Steve. For me, this is where I think where I'm different to a lot of Spurs fans is Spurs seem to worry so much about one player. It seemed to be so much about Harry Kane's feelings rather than, hang on, this is the biggest club game of our history. I don't care about one player's feelings. For me, sit him on the bench and say, Harry, I'm saving you for the last half an hour if we need you. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But instead, we had no rhythm, we had no tempo, and it was the easiest game Liverpool will ever play because they were crap as well.
It's the most un-Liverpool-like performance under Klopp that I've ever seen.
It was the worst Champions League final I've watched. Now I've watched every single one since 1995, and I thought
it was so boring.
I thought the 2003 one with with Juve and AC Milan was the worst one. But then I genuinely was beginning to fall asleep. I was thinking, I think Love Island was on. I mean, ask the missus. I was like, should we watch a bit of that? I mean, that's how bad that final was.
Can I tell you the one thing that annoyed me after that final as well? I don't know if you remember this, Steve, but about a week later, they interviewed Poch and said, look, you got to the Champions League final. what are you hoping for in the summer? You're going to go out and add a couple of world-class players. And his response was, I'll be happy with whatever Levy gives me. And it was, I would like to say it was that moment I lost faith in him. I'd lost faith in him long before that, but it was that moment I thought, that dressing room must be sitting there thinking, no, we've just got to the final. Yeah. Bring in 3 or 4 big players.
So this is what I'm saying. Is that Poch's fault? This is going back to the beginning almost. Is this Poch's fault? Because if he turned around and said on that conference or that interview, going, yeah, I'm looking at strengthening the side and doing this and doing that the other, Spurs fans are going to be like, right, okay, well, we know we need to strengthen at fullback. We know we need a CDM. We know we need an additional winger. We know we need this. And then it gets to transfer deadline day and there's not even been a conversation.
See, I don't think
people are going to be like, oh, well, Poch said this to me, and this, that, and the other.
So I'm going to defend Poch because I don't actually think it was him.
Yeah.
I think firmly that was locked down from the board, telling him this is what you will say because there is going to be no investment. We can't tell the fans that because they'll be uproar if they find out we're not going to buy any money again. But you start to lose the players. How can you say to that team that were a nearly team, they nearly won something, but they didn't win anything, that just needed that one little bit to come in? Potentially, maybe it was just literally a backup to Kane. Maybe that is literally all it needed was that one little bit to take the burden off and add a bit of competition in there for him again.
Yeah. How
can you say to them, I'm happy with what I've got. We don't need anything else. All my players are good enough.
But Steve, in that case, my only issue with that, in that case, that makes Poch weak because at that point, his stock is that high. When he first joined the club, he's joined from Southampton, Espanyol. Spurs are not on the brink of winning anything, and you say, okay, I'll just go along with it. But when you get to the point where he's had the 2nd place finish, the 3rd place finish, a couple of finals, and we're now in the Champions League final, surely that's the point where you turn around and go, right, am I buying top-class players this window, Daniel, as in Levy, or what am I getting? Because he's gone out, and the last 4 players he bought was, again, potential. Sessegnon and Clark. I mean, that is not what a Champions League team should be buying. Lo Celso, it was like, oh, okay, well, we'll get him on a loan. Ndombele, I mean, that's a story for another day. But
no, it's not for another day. We're coming to that.
No, we can do that.
Okay, right. That's a story for another minute. But for me, and I said it when the window's shut, and I get called negative a lot. I do, and it makes me laugh. I get what I get a lot is, oh, you might have parties, and I'm thinking, oh, mate, you don't know. If you come to a party with me, you're getting drunk. But what made me laugh was at the end of that window, I turned around and I said, look, I don't think that was a good window with those 4 players. For me, I don't think it strengthens us because it didn't hit the fullbacks. It didn't cover the central defensive midfielder. It didn't bring in another playmaker or a striker. And everyone said, oh, you're really negative. Look what the season's done. Yeah. We're not good. We're not good. It's so frustrating to hear Spurs fans say we're good.
So I still don't think it is Poch's fault. I mean, I get the point of it could have made him weak, but I think in Poch's defence, it was one of those whereby if you keep asking, what am I getting? And you keep getting told you're getting nothing. Oh, and by the way, we're selling you best right back, but we're getting 50 mil for it. It's just all right. Don't worry. Find a way through. And he goes, all right, fine. I could probably swing a right back. I can sort that out. I've got Trippier. That'll be all right. Yeah, by the way, we're going to go and sell this one as well. All right, yeah, fine. I can probably rejig, get Eric Dyer and make him my central midfielder. Yeah, I could probably work with that. I'm going to sell Ndombele now as well. Fine. Okay, yeah, all right. What am I going to... Eventually, you just get to a point where you just go, Daniel, can I have any money? And he goes, no. And you go, what's the point? All right.
I'm there as a fan, Steve. As a fan right now, everyone's going, oh my God, there's so much to look forward to at our club. I'm looking going, what? That squad for me, that's going to need years of surgery. Years and years of surgery. And in a post-COVID transfer market, it's not happening this window, is it? So for me, I'm looking at that going, we're back to 6th and 9th.
This is the thing, but does COVID actually play into Spurs' hands a little bit? If everyone's got no more money and they're all on a level playing field and they're all having to look at their youth systems, does that suddenly make Spurs a genuine option for bringing in some of those youngsters through the ranks a bit more, because we just can't afford it. Let's be honest, Harry Kane was a fluke. We only found him because Soldado was so awful.
Yeah.
We had to throw a youth player on because there was no other option.
Can everyone take a moment to appreciate Tim Sherwood, by the way, because it was him who really made Kane what he is in the Spurs shirt, because he did little bits when he was at Millwall, when he was at Leicester. You know, he was doing well at the lower levels, but Tim Sherwood gave him a run. So hats off to Tim Sherwood, who's better than Zidane. Everyone knows.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it could work in that favour. I just think if no one's buying or selling, and you started the next season now, you would look at our squad, and where would you put our squad ranked from 1 to 20th? Because it wouldn't be top 4, would it?
No way.
For me, it's about 8th or 9th. Because again, I'm looking at it, I'm going, Kane, Son, meh. So I genuinely believe that we're in a really bad place. We're in a really bad place at the moment. Who knows? But we make profit. So what more do we want? We make profit.
Well, we are Arsenal of the mid 2000s.
You are literally what we are. You are Arsenal in disguise, you lot. Right.
Yeah.
Ndombele. I want to talk about him. You signed him for a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, is a young central midfielder with potential. He had a good season at Lyon, but 60 plus million 65. That you spent on him, record signing for a team that has no money or has no intention of spending any money, then to spend £65 million on a bit of potential. What are your thoughts on Ndombele?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I'll sit here right now on camera and say I wanted Ndombele. I thought, watching him play for Lyon the last couple of years, he was just a monster. He was awesome. But it's one of those things where I'm not a big believer in, he's come to the Premiership and found the Premiership tough, because it doesn't look like it's the actual pace of the game. It looks like, in general, there is something not right with him. Because fitness, you say, that's 2 or 3 months. He's been with us since August or July. And something's not clicking, Steve, is it? I don't think it's just fitness. I think
it's a couple of things. I mean, he came with a reputation of being a player that wasn't necessarily as disciplined with his diet as what he should have been. But we all get that. We all love a Domino's pizza every now and again. So I get where he's coming from. But I don't think he looks settled mentally. He doesn't look like he actually wants to be there. He doesn't look right at all. I don't know if is he away from his family too much? Are they just the family not settled in London? I don't know what the setup is behind the scenes for him, but he certainly doesn't look like anyone that's wanting to be there.
And that's managers as well, Steve, isn't it? Poch and Jose both don't seem to be able to get the best out of him. Now, I'm not doubting in any way, shape or form that he's not a great footballer. The talent is undeniably there. But if I could just say, Gav, the other day I posted something on my podcast, and I said on the podcast account, and I said, if these rumours are true about Barcelona, would you swap one Ndombele for a Semedo and an Umtiti? And I said, well, yeah, because you're sorting out half a defence.
Well, I was going to say, not necessarily. Yeah, it's all about the Umtiti side of that deal. If that's the offer, I would go 1 for 1, because I think Samuel Umtiti is a world class defender.
Absolutely, but then you get Spurs fans going, give him time. Great, I'm happy to give him time. If
I've
next
literally
year
just got that comment through. And Ndombele will be good. Give him time, and talking about like former players that have come to the Premier League that have not had a very good first season, and they've turned out all right. Players like Robert Pires, players like
do you know the difference, Gav? The difference for me, and Steve, I don't know. Again, I keep coming to you because you're Spurs, but I don't know if you agree with this. But for me, yes, players come over and have a bad first season, but they're playing. They're on the pitch, and they just don't perform. Ndombele isn't having a bad first season because he's playing 90 minutes and just not performing. He just can't get on that pitch. Now, I would love to think that, because since this lockdown, I would love to think that if the season starts again in August, we go first game of the season. Ndombele's lining up there at White Hart Lane, and he's trim, he's fit. Listen, I would love nothing more. I just can't see it, and there's nothing to do with his ability.
No, he reminds me a lot of the likes of Nicholas Anelka, Freddie Canute, that kind of player, where you could look at them coming through a tunnel and instantly know before they even got to the side of the pitch, it's going to be a really good game. They're on it today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. You can see,
that sort of player.
You can see the fire in them. You know, he looks shy, almost, and you know, maybe whether that was because he got dropped early on in the season, or he just didn't get that decent run of games that he was looking for. He got outed in the media by Mourinho as well,
so
that would have knocked his confidence.
Mourinho. He always does that, and he normally does that with a player that he thinks has got another 2 or 3 levels to go up. He targets someone and goes, he's going to be my superstar. And he pushed him. He did it with Frank Lampard. He did it with Luke Shaw. He did it with Rashford to a certain degree. He's done it with John Terry. This isn't anything new with Mourinho. This is a tactic that he employs strategically to get the best out of that player.
But not everyone can take that. Not everyone has that. Like, you know, like what if there is, you know, more underlying issues? You know, what if there is like a mental health issue or something like that? And, you know, it's being absolutely vilified for it. And someone says that for me rather than putting an arm around my shoulder.
But I mean, this is 2 things here, Gav. I mean, first and foremost, what he says in public as opposed to what he says behind closed doors, we'll never know. Yeah. For me, it looks like he's trying to give Ndombele the benefit of the doubt. Starting games when he's clearly not ready to play, and some games he's having to drag him off at half time because he's wanting to give him those minutes. If he didn't rate him at all, he wouldn't be anywhere near that team. So for me, he falls into the category of Ndombele of, and as I said, I don't buy any of this nonsense of it's the Premier League and it's the. I don't buy into that. He just doesn't look right either mentally. Or physically, he doesn't. There's something about him. It's not attitude, maybe, but he's a pro footballer. Fitness shouldn't be the issue. This
should be paramount for any pro footballer nowadays. Yeah, you know, it's not me though. No.
So, I think it's a difficult one. Ndombele. If you've got Ndombele of Lyon, then we've got one of the best central midfielders or potential central midfielders in the world. Mm-hmm. If we've got the Ndombele we've had for the last 6, 7, 8 months, then...
And we've got another Soldado on our hands.
Exactly. So, it's a tough one.
Man, it's been a brilliant chat, boys. Let's talk about the future, then. So, what is the future for Tottenham Hotspur?
I think it's in half. I think what is the future of Tottenham Hotspur as a club is firmly going to be an entertainment venue for a variety of things, and using that stadium as the trophy that should be lining the cabinet for football reasons.
Entertainment, but only there once a year, remember?
There's much better things out there than Arsenal turning up to town. I mean, there's always West Ham, to be fair. So,
no.
Well, they did you, didn't they? The first team to beat you at the new stadium. So fair play with Stam.
And then I think there's what's the team going to be in the future, and I don't know is the honest answer. I think with the way that the board are, I think there's going to be a long period now of very little investment that goes into the team. They're going to look for loans. They're going to look for free signings. Maybe they're going to really emphasise the youth setup and promoting the academy. But then I think they've got the wrong manager for that option. Mourinho is not someone who's going to sit back and be okay with finishing 5th or 6th. That's not his style. He's not going to be okay if the board says, no, you've got no money, you can't sign anyone. Mm-hmm. And he's not going to be okay really with developing young players because it's not his thing. Yeah. So you've got the wrong manager. Actually, what you need if you want all those things is you need Pochettino. And you just sacked him.
Someone did actually say that they on the comments as well that it's the wrong decision really. Not necessarily the wrong decision, but they would welcome Poch back.
No, I mean, before I'll come to that in a minute, Gav. Let me just what are Spurs for the future?
Yeah.
For me, and I'll get a lot of stick for this if anyone from my Twitter feed is watching. The club's died a bit. The actual football club has died a bit. And Steve's right. We're an entertainment venue. When I see Spurs flash up on my Sky Sports updates now, it's which NFL game is going to be played there, which boxing match is going to be played there. When I go on London Underground, I see the billboards are for boxing and concerts and NFL. The football side of it is dying, and I can't see, unless we have one summer where we go, here's 300 million, go and buy 5 or 6 top players, which we know isn't going to happen. I think we've died for a bit. I think we've gone backwards, and we've turned into a club, and we've turned into a fan base as well. Not all the fans, but a large amount of fans that have turned into accountants that normally I find it's the people that don't go. And I know this sounds harsh, but I find a lot of fans that don't go have been saying, oh, no, I don't mind how much the tickets cost. Well, of course you don't mind how much the tickets cost.
Of course you don't, because you just watch it on Sky Sports.
But some of us, when we're spending 70, 75 quid a ticket to watch, Musa Sissoko and Aurier run around, and Lamella and Amora, and it's not good. So for me, I think the club has died, and I think it's a huge job for Jose, because now we need to see, can Jose work with Levy? Can Jose turn this round? And will the Spurs fans give him time? Because I'm seeing Spurs fans say Jose out, and he's had 4 months worth of games. So for me, the club is in utter disarray, and unfortunately most fans don't see it like that, because they see we've got a lovely new stadium. So for me, the football club is no longer a football club. It is, I agree with Steve, we are an entertainment company.
You are Arsenal. That's exactly what you
are.
are.
We've gone down your route. We've gone down your route, except without a few FA Cups that you managed to put in there in between. We followed you. Yeah. All the best players want to leave. We don't buy top players anymore. The stadium, you've got a lovely stadium, we've got a lovely stadium, but the atmosphere in either is not what it was at either, So
the only
for
thing
me, and sorry, I feel so passionate
with a banner that says Levy out. That's the only thing we're missing now, is a plane overhead.
Well, you could get those done for like 500 quid. I did see it.
Yeah, I can hear Arsenal fans will be able to tell me where to get one.
Yeah, you will. I'll tell you what. I've got a link. I'll put it in the comments.
Steve, I'm not saying who or what, but I think very soon you're going to start to see those banners out, because I think there's a lot of fans now that I see are talking about, well, hang on, why am I paying $2,000 a season to get to watch this crap? So I think you're going to start to see it.
Yeah, and a lot of those fans, when they were building the stadium, I mean, Gav, you won't be aware of that, but a lot of the fans, when they were starting building the stadium, were actually locked into multiple years worth of season tickets prices. So it's not that you bolt into next season and thought about the season after when you renewed. You were locked into a 4 or 5 year deal.
Wow, That's did how they not know that. Stadium.
Yeah. Wow. And let's not forget what Levy did this year. Was he wanted everybody to have had their season tickets paid off for next year before the season had finished, so we didn't even know where we were going to finish in the league.
No, now, that's out of order, man. You can't do that. Some fans will say, well, it shouldn't matter, but for me, if my season ticket was $2,000, and I don't have a season ticket because I'm lucky enough that I've got a lot of people I know that get me tickets for every game I want, so I'm quite lucky in that regard. I get it. But if my season ticket was 1,000, 2,000, whatever, I would want to know, well, hang on, are we in the Champions League or not? Are we going to be going out and buying Champions League players? Or are you getting me to pay now and yet I've got to watch this crap again next season? Do you know what I mean? It's shocking. Shocking. It's bad. Man.
I don't like Levy. Can you guess?
Yeah. So Richard Savva says, Levy in. No, I'm only joking. Sav, thank you so much for coming on the show this week. And, when the season does come back around, it would be great to have you on the show properly. We might actually be able to sit down all together, have a beer together, and talk some more football. Because I know you love your football. You're very similar to all of us at Two Up Top here, where football comes first and then our club sort of thing. But we can't help but display our passion for the club that we support.
Mate, absolutely. Listen, I've loved being on. Great to chat football. I'll do it all day, every day, and definitely, we'll do it live when this is all over. But Gents, it's been a pleasure.
No
Brilliant.
problem at all. Brilliant. You'll be able to catch us. You'll be able to catch us on Thursday for our 5 in midfield session that we normally do every Thursday, and you'll be able to find out what we're going to be talking about this week. It will be myself, Steve Buck, who you can see there as well, and Alex Osborne, back to norm sort of thing. So, boys, thank you very much once again for being a part of the show, and tune in soon. Thank you and goodbye.